on, guys? JD from New York here, and this is WWE Off The Script. This is number 46, part number 3 to close out your weekend, January 4th, 2015. Thank you so much for joining me this Sunday morning for Off The Script, guys. Your number one source for WWE news and rumors right here on YouTube.com. If you guys are not following me on Twitter, at JD from NY 206. If you guys want to be up to date on everything that I do right here on this channel, if you guys want to ask me anything you want, if you guys want to be updated with the video game side of things, if you guys want to tweet with me during live Monday Night Raws and pay-per-views, Twitter is the place to be, man. At JD from NY 206, okay? It's even in the layout here for Off The Script. You got Twitter, you got Twitch, you got Instagram, and my official Facebook page, which I've shown no love to in the past couple of months because I'm always on Twitter, man. Twitter is the place to be, really. If you guys want to follow me and keep up to date, I'm on there all the time. If you guys are not subscribed to this channel, man, what the fuck? Really, what the fuck are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button because, like I always say, this is your number one source, man. You're not going to get WWE news and rumors delivered to you like you hear it here, right here on Off The Script, all right? Going to save my plugs for the end, guys. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to get right into the news. Not a big news day, not a big news Sunday, but I do have some pieces of information that you guys might find interesting to close out your WWE week. Going to start off with Adrian Neville. Everyone is complaining about this Mighty Mouse gimmick. They want to kind of mold him into the Crash Holly of today's WWE, which is a fucking ridiculous idea. Nobody liked Crash Holly. I didn't like Crash Holly. And Adrian Neville is fucking leagues beyond whatever Crash Holly was in WWE, man. Leave him the way he is and build him up as a Daniel Bryan-like character, okay? Regardless of that, with former NXT champion Adrian Neville and his main roster debut just around the corner, rumors are beginning to circulate over a possible gimmick change when he does appear on weekly television, which I reported right here on Off The Script. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter recently reported that WWE is considering giving Neville a Mighty Mouse gimmick, mainly because of the strength he possesses for such a short competitor at only 5'9". This would involve Neville wearing a mask, which is something he didn't do on the NXT brand. On the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer radio show, Bryan Alvarez mentioned how the gimmick has been discussed, although it's not set in stone by any means. He also noted that WWE would like more of a Crash Holly-esque character for Neville, working as an underdog because of his size. This would not involve a costume change. Alvarez noted that one person told him that there is no call-up date for Neville at the moment, and he'll likely be called up to the roster in the spring of 2015. The Crash Holly type of character is not so great, but at least it's better than putting Neville in a mouse costume and a mask. Alvarez was told that there were plans to do a Mighty Mouse gimmick for Chris Candido back in 1995, but that changed, and he was given the Body Donna's gimmick in WWF instead. Now, this is slightly encouraging news. Neville does not belong in a mask. Neville belongs on the main roster, just like you see him on NXT, man. You know, they did so well with Daniel Bryan. They brushed Daniel Bryan off when he was on that fraud NXT show with all the fucking silly things that they did and the whatever. There was like a game show almost on NXT until they kind of revitalized the entire brand and made it its own, and it's probably the best programming on WWE right now. But regardless of that, Neville needs to be built like just a standard wrestler, man. This is the type of wrestler that everybody wants to see. He possesses amazing athletic ability. He's got agility that's off the charts. He's got a great move set. He's a high flyer. He's going to get over immediately as a face just because of the moves that he possesses. He does not need any type of gimmick change. He doesn't need a mask. He doesn't need a character change. You bring him back as Adrian Neville. You bring him to the main roster as Adrian Neville, and you build him up. You know, if you want to create that underdog type thing, you did it with Daniel Bryan. Just apply what you did to Daniel Bryan with Adrian Neville. It'll be the same thing. Okay? This man possesses such great wrestling ability that just seeing him in the ring and giving us top-notch matches that we know that he can against some of the other guys in the main roster that he hasn't stepped in the ring with yet is just going to be a treat in itself, man. That's all we want. All we as wrestling fans want is great in-ring action, a great story in the ring, something to suspend our thoughts and our minds for 15 to 20 minutes every Monday, man. And if Neville could do that, if he makes his way to the main roster and does that on a weekly basis against a Ziggler, against a Daniel Bryan, against an Orton, okay? Anybody, against the Bray Wyatt, that's all we want, man. That's all we want. So leave Neville the way he is. This is slightly encouraging news to those who are already, you know, who pretty much are pissed at WWE for this supposed gimmick idea. Hopefully, we see Neville the way he is on NXT when he's brought up to the main roster. So this is, like I said, slightly encouraging news. News on Chris Jericho. In unfortunate news for most fans of WWE's first ever undisputed champion, it appears that Chris Jericho will not be lacing up his boots for a match at WrestleMania 31 this year. Y2J is currently advertised for 15 WWE live events in January and February. After that, he'll be heading out on tour with his band Fozzy for an overseas tour from March 4th to March 19th. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Jericho hasn't been officially ruled out for WrestleMania, but it's looking more and more likely that he won't be at Levi's Stadium in California. The plan was for him to remain off television so that a return would mean more in the grand scheme of things, but since he's already appeared twice since November, that effect may be totally gone. This would be the second WrestleMania in a row that Jericho has been absent, with his last match being against Fandango at WrestleMania 29. Per ProWrestlingAbout.com, Jericho has 12 WrestleMania bouts on his resume, with 4 victories and 8 losses. Now, if Chris Jericho was to be back at WrestleMania, okay, and the way things are going right now, I would actually put Chris Jericho in a match with Seth Rollins, okay? Jericho had that little back and forth with Triple H and the Authority, you know, when he was back on Monday Night Raw. I don't know how long ago it was, but one of his more recent appearances where he did, I think he did his talk show on Monday Night Raw, right? So I would actually put him against someone in the Authority, most notably Seth Rollins. I think those two would have a phenomenal match if it was at WrestleMania. It would give Seth Rollins something to do, all right? A win over Jericho would be fucking great for Seth Rollins, even though he's been pretty much the best thing on TV since he won Money in the Bank. But a win over Jericho would only help his cause. It would give Jericho something to do where we can see him and his wrestling ability shine, working against someone like Rollins. And it would give you a great undercard match. Meanwhile, you can kind of flesh out the rest of WrestleMania's card. Okay, because the way things are going right now, I really don't have a place for Seth Rollins. If you really, really want to wait and put him against Randy Orton, that's probably the only logical thing. But I'm not sure if WWE is going to give Rollins and Orton a match at WrestleMania. I think it may happen sooner. You know, I'm not really sure about that. But I'm just saying if there was one guy I would put with Y2J, Chris Jericho, at WrestleMania, I would like to see Seth Rollins. I think that would be a great match, a great undercard match for WrestleMania. But if he does not appear on the show, it's not going to bother me. I like when Jericho's appearances are very, very limited. It makes it seem more important. Everybody's more excited to see him. And I would only put Jericho back on WWE TV if it's something really important. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be completely honest with you. With Jericho back the last couple of times, his program with Bray Wyatt was okay. It was watchable, but it could have been so much better if WWE Creative knew how to book the Bray Wyatt character correctly and to his strengths. I thought it was a little bit underwhelming, to be honest with you, but that's just my opinion on that. The matches that they had were watchable. The steel cage match was great. That was probably the best match of the series, but I thought it could have been a little bit better. But if Jericho's going to make his way back to TV, it's got to be very, very limited, okay? Because Jericho is that kind of guy where you don't want to see him too often. I don't want him to become like an RVD. You know, RVD, you know, he was back, and, you know, when he came back, nobody cared. That first initial announcement when he was back at Money in the Bank, it was great. Oh, yes, RVD's coming back. And then when he was back, WWE really didn't do anything for him. People soured on him. They didn't really care that he was there. I don't want that to happen to a guy like Chris Jericho. So like I said, Jericho's appearances should be very limited and only saved for the most important events, okay? There was a lot of questioning backstage as to why Paul Heyman wasn't featured on Raw the week after the angle with Seth Rollins to follow up on a potential alliance. While WWE World Heavyweight Champion Brock Lesnar wasn't scheduled, not bringing Heyman is keeping up the storyline flow, and that was criticized. So I really don't understand that either. Heyman should be on TV every week. Brock Lesnar is not there. I would have loved to seen an immediate follow-up or some type of why did Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman shake hands? Is there really an alliance going on there? Is there something brewing between those two? WWE really didn't follow up on that. And again, this past Monday, the last Raw of the year, Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman had some type of interaction. What is going on there? Okay, WWE's got to keep us in the loop, in the know about what is going on with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. But Paul Heyman should be on TV every single week. Brock Lesnar is not there. Why? Because Heyman gets over a match better than anybody on the current roster. More, you know, probably better than half of the fucking active roster who competes in the ring. So Heyman, when Lesnar's not there, should be there and should have his own segment every Monday night on Monday Night Raw. News on the Bunny. Word is the Bunny character is another bad idea being kept alive by none other than Vince McMahon, and that Triple H has been trying to get rid of it for several weeks. We may be seeing the end of Adam Rose's Bunny very soon. Thank fucking God. There continues to be a lot of backstage talk about whether or not Roman Reigns is really ready for a big push to the WWE World Heavyweight title. He's not ready, folks. Not ready. I'll say it over and over and over again to you until I'm blue in the face. Roman Reigns is not ready. Roman Reigns should not win the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns should not be at WrestleMania in a big-time championship match. He is not ready. You're going to ask me why. Maybe you should watch my older videos. Maybe you should watch the most recent videos that I did. Monday Night Raw review, Off the Script this weekend. Because I kind of go in on Roman Reigns and give you the reason why, and my opinion why, Daniel Bryan should be the guy for WWE at WrestleMania 31. After Reigns' count-out win over Big Show on Monday Night Raw, there was more of this talk and talk about Reigns' lack of reaction from the fans, which is very true. Reigns' supporters will blame the placement of the match on the show, but one observer said that Reigns received a Batista-type reaction. There was also criticism in regards to how WWE wouldn't put Reigns over clean in that match with Big Show. Even though last week's Christmas Raw was a throwaway, or the week before was a throwaway show, there's a feeling that they need to show confidence in his matches on TV if they still plan on pushing him to the main event of WrestleMania 31 with Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns had a match on Monday Night Raw. Even Seth Rollins, even being a beast at what he does, could not deliver a great match with Roman Reigns, which should really speak volumes to the people watching the way he conducts his matches backstage. Triple H, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Kevin Dunn, all these upper fucking level goons. Roman Reigns is not ready. I don't give a fuck what he looks like. I don't give a shit what his family lineage is. I don't care. He's not ready. You can't give us, and I've said this many times, and I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm going to do it anyway. You can't give us someone that we don't want. We all want Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns is not wanted. It's going to be the same thing like it was last year at the Rumble with Batista. Trust me. But this year, if it's Reigns, it's going to be even worse because people are not stupid. Reigns is not progressing at all on anything. Mic work and ring work. His look is fucking stale and boring. He needs a complete overhaul on what he's wearing. He needs new theme music. I'm not going to believe Roman Reigns in this current inception. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay? And WWE, I know they have to listen to the fans. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They have to understand from the fans' point of view and from even people backstage that are saying this. Roman Reigns is not ready. I just hope to God WWE realizes this before it's too late. Okay? UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Bones Jones, who got a win last night on UFC with Daniel Cormier at UFC 182. I did not watch it, but I seen tweets about it on Twitter. Bones Jones spoke with Chad Dukes on Chad Dukes versus the World this past week to promote his title fight with Daniel Cormier at UFC 182 on January 3rd, 2015. In addition to hyping his fight, he also had some interesting comments about CM Punk's impending UFC debut in 2015. I think it's an awesome thing for the sport. It's going to bring a lot of publicity. I went to my first WWE match this year, and the enthusiasm and emotion on the fans' faces, it was like they were watching a real fight in the UFC. I do have a respect for the influence of the WWE product and the passion of its fans. I found it awesome to watch for myself and the audience. At the same time, it would be a bad thing only because every day I'm at the gym watching these kids train. These guys have no money, and they're training their tails off, giving up everything to be a fighter, living in the gym, eating turkey and peanut butter, bare minimum, to chase this dream, and then a superstar like CM Punk just gets to jump to the UFC just because he knows the right people and has a name. I just think it's unfair for the people who've been working their asses off to earn this opportunity. That's why I really hope UFC gives him a real opponent so we can watch him get knocked out. That is Jon Jones' opinion on the entire CM Punk thing. I gave you my CM Punk opinion and the UFC deal that he signed with Dana White. I think Punk is going to do good. I think Punk is going to do very well in his weight class. I'm really excited to see Punk wrestle. It's going to bring a lot of money. It's going to bring a lot of notoriety. It's going to bring a lot of attention. It's going to bring a lot of money on both ends, on CM Punk's and Dana White's end. That's why Dana White went out and signed CM Punk. Money. Okay, it's just going to be just like Brock Lesnar was when he was in the UFC. Dana White was making an unsurreal mountains of money. Okay, all the money he made from pay-per-views, man. Some of the highest rated pay-per-views in UFC history have Brock Lesnar main eventing. Same thing's going to happen with CM Punk, man. As soon as CM Punk, Phil Brooks, has his first UFC fight on pay-per-view, everyone and their fucking mother is going to be watching that pay-per-view. Even this guy right here. CM Punk is going to do very well. It's a business move. Jon Jones needs to realize that, okay? First and foremost, it's a business. I respect the fact that he's looking out for these kids who train and have no money and have this unbelievable desire to be a fighter. But in the end of it all, this is a business move, a monetary decision. Dana White is no fool. He knew going out and buying and getting CM Punk and signing him to a contract, it's going to equal buy rates. It's going to equal money on both ends. This is why it was done. Plain and simple. I don't know what CM Punk's, whole ideal was behind this. Maybe he's doing this to spite WWE because WWE has flat out said they don't see UFC as a threat and he wants to make them eat their own words. I don't know. I don't know what CM Punk's vendetta is. I really don't know. I believe him when he says he has a desire to do this, but I also believe that CM Punk is doing this to spite and get back at Vince McMahon and Triple H and the WWE in general. Do I think CM Punk will be back in WWE? Of course I do. Of course I do. I don't think CM Punk is done with professional wrestling at all. But like I said, this is a business decision. It's 50-50 on my end. I think CM Punk really wants to fight and prove himself. And I think CM Punk kind of is doing this to spite WWE in some type of way. That's just my opinion on that. Couple of last pieces of information, guys. Bellator MMA president Scott Coker told MMAfighting.com that they have reached out to Brock Lesnar. As noted before, Brock Lesnar's deal with WWE is believed to expire on the day after WrestleMania 31. People in WWE believe he will be going back to mixed martial arts when his deal expires, and Brock, looking smaller lately, confirmed that to many that were speculating. There hasn't been any serious dialogue, Coker said. But when the time comes to have serious dialogue, they will be right there. Lesnar is in great shape right now and a great spot. Bellator and UFC are interested in him, and MMA needs more stars to help fill out their cards. In Bellator's case, they are looking to become major competition to UFC, and their goal is to increase their television ratings. UFC doesn't have enough star power since they run so many shows, and Brock would be a huge boost for their business, just like I said, why they went out and signed CM Punk. WWE would likely make an effort to keep him, but I can't see them offering him the same money that he's been getting on his current run. Dana White told MMAJunkie.com that he has not talked to Brock Lesnar. Keep in mind that Dana did say back in November that Brock has expressed interest in a return to UFC, and Dana said days before announcing that CM Punk signed with the company, he'd love to talk to Punk. Okay, so he said the same thing like he said with Lesnar about CM Punk. As we know now, he and Punk had been talking for a while, and the deal for him to sign had already been done. Dave Meltzer noted this week that people in WWE are under the assumption that Lesnar is headed back to UFC. Meltzer wrote, "The Lesnar people always keep things quiet, but within the company, the belief is that he is going back to UFC, and his showing up lighter to TV this week confirmed that to people who have thought about it." And finally, guys, new reports have provided some backstage news regarding Christian retiring from WWE. As announced and discussed during the December 29th edition of Monday Night Raw, former World Heavyweight Champion Christian has now retired from in-ring competition. Jerry the King Lawler, who was first to make the official claim during Raw, said that both Edge and Christian have retired due to injuries. While this has been common knowledge for years about Edge, who made a retirement speech in front of a live Raw a few years back, Christian had yet to make a definitive statement regarding his career. Christian suffered a number of concussions throughout his career, the last one being in March when he became #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. This time, he had not laced up the boots for action, although he has been a special guest commentator, announcer, host, and GM. He and Edge will also host, or had hosted, the first SmackDown of 2015, much like they hosted Raw on December 29th. PWInsider.com is confirming that Christian has retired from active competition, but will remain under contract with WWE for at least another year. Christian was a beast, man. I was glad that he came back. I don't think WWE ever utilized him correctly. He had some great matches with Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship, back and forth on pay-per-view, on SmackDown. That was probably his best return to getting back in the spotlight, man. Christian and Randy Orton really stole the show on many pay-per-views when they were feuding back a couple of years back for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sucks to see Christian retired. One of my favorites, along with Edge, in a tag team, man. They were just great, and I'm glad he's going to be sticking around. It's always great to see Christian. I love his attitude. I love his quirkiness. I love his sarcasm. It's always great to see, and when he's with Edge, it's always a great dynamic between both of those guys, man. So it sucks to see that Christian has retired, but better safe than sorry. You know, with all the concussions going around, you don't want to risk any further damage, and I think it's a smart decision on his end, but I'm glad that he's sticking around with WWE. And that is all, guys, for this final part of Off the Script this weekend. If you enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up after the video, man. It greatly helps out my channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. I should be back with Monday Night Raw review for the first Raw of 2015. I have a good feeling that it's going to be a big show, man. WWE might get the road to WrestleMania kicked off. We are in full gear towards the Royal Rumble, so there should be a lot of happenings going on. All right, so look forward to that. As always, I'll be back on Friday for Off the Script for your WWE news and rumors. If you guys want more news and rumors and more WWE content, man, Chairshot Reality at WrestleZone.com. Labar, Eisenberg, and Ghoulish. Go check those guys out. They also have a YouTube page linked down below. If you're not subscribed, go over there. Subscribe to those guys and tell them that JD from NY sent you over there. Joe Cronin Show. Go check him out. Twitter and YouTube link down below. Joe Cronin just hit over 11,000 subscribers. Keep up the love and support for him. He greatly deserves it. And the guys over at TRN, go check those guys out. Twitter and YouTube linked down below. Like I said, if you guys want more additional wrestling content right here on YouTube.com. This is JD from New York. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, hopefully, for a Monday Night Raw review. So until then, take care, enjoy your weekends, and I'll see you guys later.